Everything we know, from people and ants to stars and galaxies to quarks and atoms, the entire universe, might just be a simulation running inside a supercomputer inside an even bigger universe. Ancient philosophers said that the universe is a dream that we're waiting to wake up from. In this dream world of the imagination, anything is possible. All cultural items, from the dreams of our rodent-like ancestors, to books, to television shows, are merely permutations of the reality we think we live in. Today's age of computers and video games places simulations at the center of our cultural consciousness. A select group of us perform simulations for fun and profit, and we call them games, role-playing and otherwise. We live to run simulations. Join us on the Simulationist podcast as we explore our culture of simulations.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Simulationist podcast. This is the 128th iteration of the show. That's 2 to the power of 7, 128. And it is recorded on the 15th of February.
This would be the what is known for most people as Cheap Chocolate Day.
All the chocolates are going back on sale. Well,
it just has to be heart-shaped chocolate. It is not to be confused with the Cheap Chocolate Day of November 1st or the Cheap Chocolate Day of Boxing Day or New Year's.
Yeah, there's a lot of cheap chocolate days around. Chocolate's a popular holiday thing.
Well, it's something that almost everybody can agree that, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind having some of this. So, yeah, it's like... some people can't have caramels. It's like, oh no, I've got bridge work. Oh no, I've got braces. Or I just don't like how it sticks to my teeth. So, you got to have something that's a little less sticky than that. Candy canes, sort of thing and all that would probably be better, but let's face it, you bite down on one else and you got little tiny shards of sugar in your mouth. So, chocolate's soft like that.
Shards of sugar. Oh.
Which, by the way, might make for a very interesting, name for a candy shop. Shards of sugar. Candy shop.
The sugar shards. I like that as... Okay, we should introduce ourselves.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Who are you? My name is Josh Trelevin. In case this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. Sit back, relax, turn the volume up, down?
Extra medium. Get
some snacks or whatever you're going to get, or...
we do appreciate you picking such a mathematically wonderful date to, to start out, listening to. It's like, what iteration to listen to? 128, because that's 2 to the power of 7. So I dig that. That's nice of you.
Good thinking, listener.
I like people who think mathematically. It's like
we admire your taste.
Well, admittedly, if you're going to start listening to like a series, it's like, well, one should be as good as any in the series. So how do I determine which one to start listening to? And it's like, well, this is 2 to the power of 7, so I can express that very easily in a mathematical notation. Yeah, I'll go that way.
Did we introduce you two?
No, I am a mystery.
The mystery.
Wrapped in an enigma, drinking some pop.
The same guy you always hear every week for the last...
Ryan Kirkby, for the last, yes, version 128. Co-host extraordinaire.
Cool. Yeah, candy shards. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Could you have an edible weapon in D&D? I guess it would have to be an improvised weapon, like a real, giant candy cane.
I'll meet you halfway. We'll put candy canes and shards of sugar as a spell in my conceptual Candyland campaign setting.
Candyland, the role-playing game.
It wouldn't just be Candyland, by the way. I mean, you'd be able to summon, condimentals. I summon the mustard condimental. Yeah.
Condimentals, yeah. Or
condimentals.
Condiment.
Yeah, condiment. Condimentals.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So you could summon fun stuff like that, or you could have the Arctic terrain would be your cold candy, and then you'd have your meat land sort of thing, which should be kept at just about 3 to 4 degrees Celsius.
Cold candies like your cough candies, or your cold candy like ice cream and stuff?
Ice cream sort of thing.
Okay, because cough lozenges, and that's a different.
That would be an alchemical item, kind of like an antitoxin sort of thing.
Could you have the land of cough lozenges sounds like almost a tropical, dripping with sort of honeyed... But
that's the thing, is you just imagine the entire world is food products, and all of a sudden, the whole thing starts coming in there.
Although technically the world kind of, in a way, it is all much carbon.
Until we can properly digest cellulose, it never will be. Not in reality. People are working on that. There's some interesting things you can do by like shredding things up into like sawdust and then applying a nice slurry mixture to it. But the flavor is just I've tried bits of it. Like cellulose does not taste like. You know how people say like, oh, wow, this is so bad, it tastes like cardboard? Mm-hmm. You wish this stuff tasted like cardboard. That's how bad and bland it is. So there's a lot of work to go for the aesthetic appeal to it. We got to find some spicy trees to trim down.
Yeah. You know, cardboard isn't. I mean, cardboard's sort of tasteless because we eat a lot of our food off of cardboard, and we're like, yeah, cardboard, lick. You know, we don't eat the cardboard, but yeah.
Well, you shouldn't. I mean, you could. You cut up into small enough bites, you could actually work it. It's kind of like a fiber in that case.
I guess so, yeah.
Not recommended fiber, but you could do it.
But don't animals? Some animals must eat.
Technically, termites don't, but the stuff in their gut digests it. So indirectly, yes, they do.
So we'd have to farm and eat termites, which is possible.
Here's the thing: if we could just figure out like a way to get all the bioethicists to agree to adding, just one chemical process in the stomach's, mixture for chemicals it naturally produces. We could take that, alpha beta, like problem, because that's all it is between like complex, food groups that we can digest and cellulose. It's an alpha versus beta combination. So it's like imagine two balls connected with a straight line versus two balls connected by a right-angled line.
Okay.
That is the only difference between whether or not we can digest it. So if we could just, put in the cellulase to break down the cellulose, we could, it's just like, oh boy, sawdust. It doesn't taste that good, but you know what? I'm on a diet. It's not that bad. So, so think about that, man, next time.
Good thought to start the podcast off with.
It could all be food. Everything around you, except the plastics, could be food.
Yeah.
Oh, and the fish in the oceans are apparently eating a lot of plastic these days. So, yeah, I guess it counts as food that way. It's not good. You can't really digest it, but you're eating it, so that's food.
Yeah. GottaCon is coming up in
that's right.
2 more weeks.
Less than 2 weeks now. Because we're recording this Sunday evening. It starts Friday evening. So we are down to like 13 days.
13 days.
Wait, is it Friday evening or Saturday evening it starts?
Oh, yeah, I guess it starts on Friday. Yeah, Friday evening. Friday the 27th.
In that case, we're down to 12 days.
Ooh.
T minus 12.
Yeah. Cool. So, yeah.
I'm going to miss it this year, but that just means I'll have more figure to try and save up and get it right next year.
Yep.
Yeah.
I went to Roll for Initiative yesterday.
Oh, how was that? Yes.
Well, it ended up being smaller than we expected, but hopefully...
It's the first year, though, they're doing that, right?
Yeah, they just started it. I think this was their second, so I'll tell you all about it.
Yeah, you can't get the ball rolling until you get the ball. Then you got to get it to roll. That's how you start.
It's a nice little, it's like a community center kind of thing up in Gordon Head.
Classy end of town.
It's a nice place. It's near the university and all that.
Oh, so. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and some of the guys who work there, they play D&D there, anyways, because it's a nice space. And then they were like, well, let's make this, open it up and make it an event and stuff like that. So yeah, it became Roll for Initiative, and they've had one official before yesterday.
Well, so it was their second roll.
And yeah, this was the second one. So
under 5th edition rules, would this count as the second roll or just the roll for an advantage to see which is the better of the two?
I would say second roll because you need a special circumstance to get that roll for advantage, I think.
And two people mentioning on a podcast doesn't count as giving advantage?
I guess that would give us, that would give us advantage.
So the third one will count as the advantage roll for the second one. Because the first one was the first roll, and naturally we weren't talking about it until the second one started up.
Okay. Yeah.
Boy, fun with new rules of D&D.
I'm not sure how that analogy should ultimately work, but yeah, I just wanted to say I went there and I had fun. I got to play. What did I play? I played a wizard. It was just a first level. We played basically an entire adventure, a couple of encounters. First level, I was a wizard and I cast some spells, magic missile.
Well, as per wizard's prerogative.
Yeah, and had fun, and it's gonna happen from now on, roughly every month, I think. So. I'll continue to post little links in the show notes.
Well, I might have to see if I can clean out my schedule one time and come in and join.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. I should. It is $15 or something like $5-ish if you want to DM.
Well, I got to get a little experience under my belt for this edition before I DM.
Yeah. I will the way it ran today or yesterday. It felt very. Everything clicked. And I think, yes, our DM was a relatively experienced guy. He's done a bit of DM. It was Alex, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yes, Alex from Victoria. The one Alex that lives in Victoria.
Alex, yeah. That one guy named Alex.
You can't move into Victoria, if your name is Alex, until that first Alex moves out. There's only room for one Alex in Victoria. It's not a big city.
We'll have to start handing out and letters to all the other Alexes. Anyway.
Well, we do allow multiple Alexanders, but there's only one Alex.
Yeah. So what was I going to say? Yeah, it all went smoothly. I think DMing for this edition is going to be fairly easy to do, and I would like to try it.
So, can I ask you a bit of a weird question? Oh. Would it be considered odd if I spend some time getting to know the rules by role playing with myself?
Not at all.
Okay. Because I got to say, I haven't spent a lot of time actually playing. I've been studying the book back and forth, class combinations, background combinations, and all that stuff with every one of them and all that, and I'm working up for the whole stuff, and it's but I haven't actually given it okay, write this character, make it out fully, and test it out at the table, sort of thing.
Yeah, you should absolutely do that. I recommend anybody who can't get, even if you can get a group, on your days when you're not playing, with somebody else, yeah, definitely.
Well, that's the thing, is back in 2nd edition, it took me a while to get my friends all to read up and start the game. So for a while there, I was testing things out, okay, because this was, back in 2nd edition, they didn't exactly have challenge ratings. You had to kind of base it off the experience reward of killing the creature. So I had to test some stuff out to figure out what I was doing. And in my defense, I had a lower player mortality rate than some of my other friends when they just were throwing any monster. This troll looks cool. I'll throw it up against a bunch of first-level characters. Oh, wow, did they die quickly. Woo!
Yeah.
So, that extra bit of practice did help me out, I won't lie. But to actually roll 4 characters up and, try and put them through, a series of combat scenarios, it seems a little weird. And, D&D is a very social game, so doing it, solo seems kind of self-defeating. It's that's not really the point, buddy. You're supposed to get some other people and muck around with them.
Well, that's true. If you want to subject your players, because some DMs do advise, as you're writing up an adventure or whatever, you should just roll some dice and just, run through a quick mock. You don't have to.
Yeah, if I was to write up a proper encounter, something I want to publish online, I will be taking generic 4-pack of NPCs, and I will be players, and I will be putting them through the encounters they're fighting, just to make certain it's at least viable. I didn't mess up oh, that's right, this thing has got regeneration unless you have cold damage. Nobody at this level can even get a cold damage spell likely going. Yeah, that's pretty much a total party kill. Yeah. Let's revise.
Although I had Ray of Frost at will, which was pretty awesome.
Which is not a lot of damage to do, but if you're the only person doing it, everyone else has to start acting as a meat shield while you just keep zapping it out?
I suppose, yeah, if that was your only thing going on. I think, D&D they try to sort of pepper your characters with...
something you can always do, something that can always help out. One of the things with the fighters, all you need, with a proper fighter, but it's have them next to you, and then whenever a monster tries to attack, the shield gets in the way, and they always have disadvantage. The fighter, just by being there and doing their job, means you are much more protected, even if they can't hurt.
Yeah.
So that's always nice. Something I very much like in this edition. It gives the fighter a good role as the shield, as opposed to the sword.
Another thing you see, sort of I've seen more recently, I guess, with the introduction of things like Dungeon World and other sort of more story-oriented games, is that a lot of DMs will say things like, well, make a case for your character, like, you know, do something weird like knock an avalanche down on the bad guy or something like that. You know, make a case for why you can cause cold damage to them. And then if the player makes it convincing enough, like tells a story, often the player like fails miserably, but the DM gives it to them anyways. But basically, yeah, there's this idea now in D&D, which I think is kind of cool, kind of interesting. I don't know if I would always do it, but there's this idea that, yeah, you can make a case for why you should be able to do damage to this monster.
Well, I think it fits in a theatrical style, because you see in the movies, so. Like, oh, yes, and then he cuts down the thing, and the chandelier knocks out 4 or 5 guards. It's like, well, okay. It's like you say you cut the chandelier, well, there goes 4 minions out of the way, so it's a little easier. You no longer have to wade through this battle.
Yep.
Skip you on ahead. And I gotta say, I do have a very nice memory of playing riffs. Yeah, you can have nice memories playing riffs. Who knew? Wherein I guess like we had all the books. Like, oh god, we like between like the game master and my friends and all, there was every book at the table. So I was playing a Minotaur because I had the ability to, so I did. And we're fighting straw golems, which apparently take a lot of, you know, like damage sort of thing. And I did not have weaponry enough to deal proper mega damage. So, you know, it's like, well, I got to try something. And the game master says, well, you know, what do you do? Like, how are you going to try and do this? I'm like, well, part of my body is physiologically herbivorous, and it's straw. So in lieu of actually, you know, being in rest of combat, my character was eating the straw golem, in air quotes, alive. It's a golem. It's not technically alive, but I get rid of one golem. I'm out of play, so that's an equal loss out that way, and everyone else goes to fight the other ones. By the time they got back, I was picking my teeth clean. Yeah.
Cool.
And my character didn't have to, you know, like eat the ration he was going to have for supper anyways. Hooray! So yeah, I do like that. I always try and have that as an option in a campaign. Any sort of situation where you want to say, I want to try and interact with the scenery like this, then yeah, by all means, try and interact with the scenery.
Chew the scenery, literally.
If that's what it comes to, chew the scenery. But anytime when you want to have the scenery as something around you, I think that makes it a much more engaging situation, because instead of just like a tactical grid map, it's like I am in there and I run along the wall, or you know, like I swing from the chandelier, so I go above, you know, like the King's Guard to go down in front of the despotic tyrant. It's like, yeah, okay, I will, you know, make this check, try that. Okay, if it all works, it all works.
Yeah, cool.
I always dug it. And, you know, so I encourage that. Thumbs up to anyone who's allowing that in a campaign as a default option.
Yeah, all right, cool. So that basically was my week, I guess, yeah. Yeah, what have you been up to for you?
Well, 3 things this week.
Simulation.
1, I got my computer fixed. Hooray!
Oh, good. Yeah.
I didn't get the card I wanted.
We ended last week on a cliffhanger. Don't know if we were going to get that fixed or not.
I didn't get the card I wanted. There was a nice one on sale for $65, but it was all sold out.
Yeah.
I would have taken a week to have ordered in another one and get it in there and all that.
Oh yeah, sure.
So instead, I got one that was not on sale, $5 more. It was like, instead of like a 630, it was a 610. So I got 20 less for $5 more. Mm-hmm. I don't think I would have noticed much of a difference. It's just that when I was looking at the website, you know, before I go into the store, it's like, oh, this one's got decent ratings. I quite like this one.
Yeah. Have you you tried it out on different games and stuff?
Done the movie stuff. Check this out. Check that out. It all functions. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh my goodness, the whole world is open up to me. The colors seem richer though. So I'm wondering if my video card wasn't slowly deteriorating and things were getting paler, but at such a slow rate I wasn't noticing the difference. So yeah, now everything looks lush and colorful. It's like, ooh, ah. So that was nice. I got that done. Oh, that was good. Second bit was I played Minecraft, and I dug too deep finally in my area. By which I actually dug at all on the surface area. Yeah. I was looking around and I was like, I got ore berries from the Tinker's Construct stuff, and I got a decent amount of them. So I'm like, okay, do some work out here. It's like, okay, ore berries need light level 9 or less to grow. And then I'm looking around like, So I have a very little area to grow, them in before like zombies start popping in because of the low light level. Mm-hmm. And then I realized, I can grow them on the ceiling. So I started getting some lights on the floor and have them all up on the ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
And the height difference is just enough that I can actually just reach and pluck what I need. I did have to kind of go up to the top level, almost to the top, and put a bunch of like dirt down so I could plop it down. Like the jack-o'-lanterns, it needs something underneath it.
Oh, yeah.
To plop it down, but once it's there, you can get rid of the underbase, and it just stays up there. So I'm quite happy with my design.
Yeah.
But in digging down underneath my vertical farm, I found 2 different cave systems that apparently are non-connected. It's like,
Did you explore them?
A little bit, yes. I found one to be very interesting in that it was a very wide swath from what I've explored so far, and about 2-3 squares high. And I was getting flashbacks to the old Dungeon Master game from... I guess I played it on the Mac 2GS. This is far back. Although they did have a copy of it on the Super Nintendo, so some of the younger audience members might recall it. It was a very good game, but it played like every level was almost exactly flat. If you fell down a pit trap, you were technically in the next level.
Oh, yeah, sure.
There's no random monsters or anything, all pre-programmed traps and monster situations. Very good. If you can find the designs for it online, I do recommend looking it up. It's got some very interesting work where you eventually have to go down to level 14 and up to level 9 and back and forth to get things going.
That's cool.
And after a certain point, I've locked out level 8. You can't go, level 8 or higher. You're stuck at the very end until you defeat the big bad, Master Chaos guy. So, a very interesting style design there. But I got the impression, because it's like, go around the corner. Oh, no, 2 creepers, back up and fire. Get ready to go in there. Thank goodness I've got a bow with the infinite ammunition. So it's like, fire, 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 fire.
Yeah.
Oof. Although that said, I do want to spend the time and get the proper resources and use the Tinker stuff to make a really good bow. Something with a good quick drawback speed. So that way I don't have to sit and charge the bow before I fire. Ideally, I would get the bow, and then I get the stuff to make it, effectively get it haste, so that when I'm firing off arrows, it's like kind of like a pseudo-medieval, like, Gatling gun.
Yeah.
That's what I want to pepper the enemy with that.
Uh-huh.
It's going to take some time, okay, which enchantments do I effectively have to put on there, and what sort of materials do I want and need. So, I'll have to look up that, but that's now on my list. I didn't get a lot of hurt by the enemies, but I did do some falling damage as I was trying to dig out the proper area and put in my underground oreberry spots. And the falling damage was just enough for me to effectively fall down naked. I had taken enough damage from other stuff that my leather armor was almost completely gone, and I fell down, and I wound up, blowing my clothes off in the falls. I didn't know you could do that. Yeah, I didn't know falling damage took durability off of armor.
Yeah. I haven't figured out if things like poison and drowning do, although I hope not. But
I don't think so. That doesn't make... drowning doesn't make sense, and poison's clearly a biological function.
Yeah, I would think.
That's it. I also learned that essence ore berries don't have any requirements. You can put them anywhere. And they're nice and green, so I'm looking at them and I'm like, when I make the library... I'm going to transplant them in there, and they're going to be like the little bushes. There's like nice green space in good modern libraries, right?
Yep.
I'm going to put them there, so that way it'll be like a thing. You'll go to the library, and you, air quotes, read some books, and what you really do is pop the berries out, and then every time you eat a berry, you gain like experience points. And that's how you level up, by reading your books in the library.
Yeah.
So I quite like how that's going. So I do want to do more exploring now to find more of the essence ore berries and that, and I've decided, I've got trunks. Thanks to my quarry, I've got trunks upon trunks of cobblestone.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm putting out more spots for trees to grow, and I'm doing more work with that to get the coal, the charcoal to get everything done there. And I'm getting some good returns on my my various little ore berries. So I'm using my smithy area a lot more than I traditionally have. And I'm looking at brass. Like right now, I'm upgrading my temple area, and I replaced all the orange wool with black blocks of coal, and the contrast's quite nice. Yeah. But I'm like, what the smooth cobblestone back there? Maybe I should try it. And I tried it with copper, but it tints differently, so it's got a very double banner cross line. I'm not happy with.
Okay.
I'm thinking I might have some more fun with brass.
Sure, yeah.
Or maybe even bronze. I'll see which way it winds up working.
Yeah.
So I'm pleased with the aesthetic progression, and I'm like, it looks good, but not good enough. Be gone. So, yeah. And the third thing this week was I watched a really nice old movie I'd never seen before.
Okay, another movie?
Yes, it was like The Captive Wild Woman, or The Feral Wild Woman, or like that.
Cool.
Guy comes back from like a 2-year safari with like 20 like animals, like 10 lions, 10 tigers, like a cheetah and a gorilla, because like what you gonna do, right? I found a gorilla, why not?
Yeah.
And he's bringing it back for like a circus act. And I gotta say, a lot of the stuff, the scenes were used with a professional, tamer from back in the era. And so it's like a lot of shots of like a man, like, with a whip in the chair, and then a lot of shots of the back of a person with a chair, actually dealing with the lions and tigers and all that.
Sure.
But like I've always considered, these acts, like a little barbaric. I've seen the Barnum and Bailey circus stuff. They did things a lot better. The animals, when they're walking around, it's free animals. It's an elephant walking around because the elephant's, being told to go this way, not because someone's whipping with a gun in one hand and a whip in the other and a chair being held up, back and forth as need be.
Yeah, well, they have like a special stick for elephants, and this hopefully this isn't too disturbing, but
that wasn't needed in the Barnum and Bailey stuff. They had very well trained elephants, and so it's just kind of like the same thing with a horse. Basically, they were just really big gray horses at the Barnum and Bailey stuff. But seeing them with even in black and white, these were magnificent beasts, and just seeing them, like it's like you see yourself like, oh yeah, I've seen tigers before. They ain't that big. I could take a tiger in a fight. No, no, I've seen this thing. In some of these scenes here where the tiger's just like, oh bam, tiger's like right over top. If it wasn't for that chair, this guy would have been mauled to death. And it's just like, wow, these things. You see the size, and you think, oh, it's not that big. I could probably avoid. No, you do not have the speed.
Did you see Life of Pi? Did you ever watch that one?
No, I didn't see it in the theaters. I was broke and I had a kid, and I didn't want to take the crying baby with me.
No, that one had a tiger in it too.
How fast did the tiger move in that one?
I don't think. I mean, it was the tiger didn't. Let me see.
Because I got to say, in these things, from what I saw, it was like blink and the tiger's claws are in your eyeballs. Yeah. Not just in your face, but literally, it's already gotten you, man.
I think what they did with that, they had one scene where the tiger attacks like a goat or something like that, and the little boy he thought that the tiger was like, he thought he was making a connection with the tiger, like staring at it. Then so his dad, who's the zookeeper, puts the goat in a cage, and then they watch the tiger eat the goat. But what they do with the camera is I think they just cut away basically. And the next, once, it might be my memory, but yeah, it's like not even a second, and the tiger's there, and it's eating, like the thing is dead, and
and there were some nice scenes in the movie where like two lions or a lion and a tiger were like fighting, because especially when it's a mixed animal sort of thing, they are really ready to go at each other.
Oh yeah,
I don't understand why, but I guess it's a primal sort of thing, right?
It might be that. I mean, it's just
you are not part of the pride, you're not part of the pack, so aggression. And then what the role of the guy in the ring is to keep them, okay, you got to go up on your little pedestal, and you stand all there, you sit all there while I do tricks with this one. And he's got to make sure that they don't decide to, I'm just going to maul your face off, lion. It's like, not a chance, tiger. I'm the king of the jungle, and I live in the savannah. So, it's like very impressive stuff, just seeing them fight. And I don't know if it was playful, because sometimes, like in the movies when they got two dogs fighting, they'll do it in slow motion. It's just two dogs horsing around.
Oh, sure.
Which I guess is a mixed, okay. Two dogs messing around, not horsing around, because two dogs horsing around is a cross, metaphor. But with these things, with these lion or a lion tiger sort of thing fighting, it's like, oh my god, like how is there not blood spurting out everywhere? I think they were just, messing around. But it's like, this is like, there goes my arm right there. If that was me there, that's my arm. So I learned an important lesson that way. If I put a lion or a tiger in a campaign, you guys got to be on your toes. These things will move fast and they will hurt. So no, be on your guard. That said, they were technically a background to the actual movie.
Okay.
The ape, the gorilla that comes with is like a natural when it comes to things. It's like, oh, like hey, her name was Chila. was on, oh, Chila, and she'll shake the hand, and it was a guy in a
guy in a gorilla suit.
Yeah.
Okay.
You do not try and shake hands with an actual gorilla. You will lose some tendons and you rip a nerve or two. But he's like, oh yeah, this is the best natural thing I've ever seen, and all that. And secret mad scientist is seeing this sort of thing. He's actually a brilliant, chemical surgeon that has done some amazing things, and he decides, this is a very smart ape. I want this ape for myself in my evil magic, mad science. I'll say magic mad science because the science behind it was so soft. I don't want to call it science in any case.
Yeah.
But this guy is he's quite good at making physical defects go away, because he changes glandular secretions, and apparently in 1943. Because that's when the movie, was released, 1943.
Okay.
It's apparently that's how you change people. How do you get rid of this, elephant man sort of thing? How do you get rid of the bone defects? Just change the hormone secretion levels in the human body, and it all goes away. So he does a bunch of blood transfusions with the ape once he manages to get the gorilla, in with him, and he's doing the surgery and all that. So with a bit of a brain not the full brain, but just a basal brain sort of thing. So it's not controlled by primitive emotions solely, and a lot of blood transfusion from a lady that's secreting excess hormones of a particular type he needs. He's able to turn the gorilla, Chila, into a human being. Because apparently that's all you need to do. Lots of blood transfusions and a bit of a brain work.
Cool, okay.
Apparently according to this movie, 4 to 5 hours of surgery in the hands of a brilliant scientist is all that separates man from gorilla. And interesting thing, when she becomes a gorilla sort of thing, the gorilla becomes a female. One, she's a looker. Of course she's a looker.
Yeah.
That's how it always goes there. But two, she's so weirdly unnatural, all the other animals are nervous around her. And so she winds up being able to control an entire 10 lions, 10 tigers in a ring, because she is so weird, and she's got that primal connection, because, dude, she's a gorilla, but she's a human. She's got them so muddled up that they will obey her, unless there's, the actual tamer in the ring who's trying to tame them, in which case they're confused. Who do I take lessons from? Just maul everyone. So, just having her in the ring alone, she doesn't have to worry about them attacking. She will just stare at them. She's got the actress, Aquanetta was her name.
Okay.
Yeah, which is a kick-ass name, right? I am Aquanetta. That's a fantasy name there. It's a sci-fi sort of thing going on. But that was the actress's name. No spoken roles, but just some very good eye glance work. Not a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, we got to hire her for her eye glances," but very noticeable in this one. And when she stared, you could bet. She's like, "Oh, I bet people were moving to do what she was saying with her eyes."
Have you watched any of the Big Bang Theory recently?
No, not recently.
There's this one of the sub storylines that's recurring is that Penny has been cast. Well, she did it in a few episodes, maybe last season, I think.
All right.
She was cast in a movie like that, and she was playing, I think, the love interest of a gorilla, or maybe she turns into a gorilla. I can't even remember now. Because they don't actually show, they don't really show the scenes from the movie. They just sort of talk about it.
Although that is a good setup for doing a small, made-for-TV movie. The movie she's in, and then you just do a nice bad sci-fi movie, right?
I'd like to see if they,
there's at least one executive that's kind of I'm writing a little bit of a script here. I'll send it to the actual script writers to polish up later. But I think we got a made-for-TV 2.5-hour movie thing on our hands. Yeah.
But it's funny because the gag is always about, how terrible that movie is. And it's always funny to see, TV make fun of other TV or movies or stuff. Because
the science in this was laughably soft. Even in this era, if anybody thought this was something you could do, oh yes, I will just, put a whole bunch of new hormones in your system and you'll be completely different. You can cure disease and look like all the hair is disappearing off this gorilla hand. It's becoming a svelte human female hand. Ooh, ah.
Huh.
It's no, the hair, if it does go off, is just going to fall out and, blow away. But no.
What happened? It got sucked back into the skin?
It just disappeared.
Oh, okay.
Like a Wolfman transformation sequence where you see him, and then he's hairier, and then he's hairier, and then he's all Wolfman.
Oh, yeah.
You just kind of play that in reverse. That's kind of what happened. Apparently that's how transformations worked back in the day, because it was like a special effect anyone could do with time, patience, and a properly stationary camera.
Yeah, I wonder if that would be impressive, like in the day.
That was quite impressive in the day, from what I've been
be.
told. It's still pretty impressive to see. I mean, that's good makeup work sometimes, especially when, you know, it's like a full facial transformation thing, because you got the person sitting the same way, blink, move. Okay, 2 hours makeup. Blink, move, same head, same way. Back out, okay. More makeup, blink, move, just a little bit, okay. And then final makeup sort of thing. And then for the rest of whatever scene, you know, it's just like a 3-hour makeup job to get that done. And then you go back and forth. You only do 1 or 2 transformation scenes like in the movies there. Just enough to get the audience to believe. But the bit that got me was like, it takes the blood of one woman and the brain parts of another one to turn this ape into a woman. Mm-hmm. Sort of thing. It's like, that would be incredibly good information to know if I was František Markov, the ruler of the Ravenloft domain of Markovia, who has traditionally had a very hard time keeping his patients to remain human. But I don't think anything has actually stated him taking body parts of a human to keep that transformation stable. He's always just trying to, like, I'll use the sci-fi term uplift. He tries to turn a creature into, you know, a human. Mm-hmm. And that works. He can do that. You know, hey, bravo, man. That's better than me. I can't do that. Mm-hmm. But the transformation never lasts. And I'm thinking, like, I could use this as inspiration for, like, a campaign story thing about him figuring out a way to stabilize it. And then he's got human or human-styled agents, you know, operating throughout the Ravenloft core domain, getting him more of needed supplies.
Well,
wink, wink.
What is his goal? Is his goal just the advancement of scientific knowledge, or is his goal to have more servants?
That's what he'll say. Honestly, it was intelligence and boredom. He used to be a butcher, like literally a butcher in the domain of Barovia. And he was a good butcher, but he had a lot of books, and he was really smart, and so he decided to play. You know, and you're in Ravenloft, so when you decide to play, you never play, you know, Krokano, you don't play Mancala, you play with the line between man and God. He was a very, you know, atheistic person in a realm where, gods theoretically exist. Mm-hmm. So, and what he would do is, like, he would, like get glandular secretions from the adrenaline part of like a pig and put that into a cow and see what it does. Yeah. And then, oh no, it doesn't survive very long because it's very crude processes. But you know what? Still good meat, I suppose. Chop it up, sell it off. And he makes a good living this way, being a good butcher / you know, like a secret hidden scientist until his wife finds out and threatens to tell all the people about what he's doing and what sort of tainted meat he's selling. He keeps her alive for 3 days. She's the next test subject. When they find the corpse, it takes them 2 days to realize what they found is human, and that it's his wife. And then he goes fleeing off, and oh hey, he's got the domain of, you know, Markovia.
He gets his own domain after that.
His great deeds have caused him to become worthy of the dark, you know, mists of Ravenloft to, you know, be called attention to. And so when he flees to the mists, a domain forms around him. During the Grand Conjunction, something happened, and it kind of became tropical and got shunted off into the Western Ocean. So he's kind of short on...
So he has the island of Dr. Moreau.
It's very much what the inspiration is the island of Dr. Moreau. But, I mean, any mad scientist situation whereby he's turning like a human into a beast or a beast into a human plays well into his theme. And I will note that it is a much more tropical island than you'd normally have, because if you go directly east from there, you hit a very cold, like northern Scotland or England sort of terrain on the mainland. Okay. So why is it tropical? I don't know.
Oh, the Gulf Stream, of course.
Something like that. And there's not much of a Gulf Stream to be had, but yeah. He does have a Mistway connection to the tropical verdant lands, so he seems to act as like a stepping stone between regular, you know, core domain of Ravenloft and one of the more popular alternative ways. So if you kind of aim on a northwesternly direction from the coast, you hit his island. Avoid his island! You know that.
Yeah, don't go there.
Don't actually land there. There's a lot of good raw resources there. Great timber. Not worth it. It's never worth it in Ravenloft. But it's like, oh, like this thing could really, because I gotta say they really haven't done much with him since his story happened. And it's like, oh, and then the Grand Conjunction was like where he used to be is now a giant hole in the center of the domain, just like leading down into a bunch of mist, and it's looking really creepy down there. But his domain's like off in the ocean, and he's not progressed. He hasn't done anything. Some of the other Dark Lords, they do things. Like, I will invade this nation. I will attempt to cause a Grand Conjunction to cause everything to dissolve. Or my machinations can be felt throughout the entire court. No, he's just like a scientist trying to. Well, he lost his human body when he got his own domain.
Okay.
His head remains the same, but his body can be that of any animal.
Cool.
He usually keeps it as a gorilla because that way you get your thumbs and you can work with that, and you generally look human, so you get a nice big cape on yourself, and you can kind of pass for a fat, like oversized human with a tiny little regular human head, right?
Yeah.
The proportions are just close enough that most people are willing to forgive. Like, he's got kind of a small head for that body. But yeah, it need be, he can. Oh yeah, now I got a tiger body. I maul you quick, buddy. He doesn't like to do that, though. He really wants to be human, and he believes the secret of becoming human is in his test subjects. Because if he can turn like a full animal into a human, then he can clearly turn his mostly, animal body into a full human. It's doomed to failure because he's a Dark Lord, and that's kind of how things go. His greatest desire is doomed to failure. But it's like I was watching this movie. It's like this would be great inspiration for pursuing greater depths of depravity for him, and yet more storytelling opportunities. Because then it's not just like a mad scientist. He's got his own island off there with a bunch of crazy animal people that hate him for all the horrible work he does. It's also now there's potentially secret agents of his all along the western coast finding urchins and other human resources for his next stage of development.
Not like sea urchins.
No, these would be like street urchins.
Okay, yes. Street urchins. Spiky street urchins.
If he was to try and cross the two of them together, he probably could get it happening. You could have the urchin.
Urchin.
But here's the thing about the movie. When the lady who was the gorilla gets jealous, because it's like she apparently had feelings towards the guy who caged her up. Don't ask me why. When he goes to embrace his fiancée, she gets really jealous, and when she has fit, she starts turning back into the gorilla. So it's like she has to remain calm and all this to remain human. It's not work. She the rage blows through the glands, and they wind up burning out. So he's like, now I got to get a whole new brain piece to put in there and more blood transfusions. Why did you do this to me? Everything was going fine.
Little Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Very much so, yes. And so I found that to be very interesting, too, because you could work that into a Ravenloft thing. They have to, you could tell, potentially...
Well, is there a Jekyll and Hyde already in Ravenloft?
Yes, he's over on the East Coast.
Yeah, I would have thought.
Yes. Most of the standard tropes are covered in a dark form, one way or another. But you could see potentially guess which ones are, the agents of Markov, because they are not giving in to their animalistic side. They have to remain logical and human, because if they get too upset, they will burn out the human part of that in their whatever the surgery did for them. Well, I'll make up some fun terms like the bilious humors burn out improperly and become unbalanced, and they revert back to their animalistic form. So if they want to remain human, and they, they probably do, or they'll get hunted down like an animal, as per animals get hunted down, in Western, is it Renaissance sort of technology style? Yeah, in Renaissance Europe, they have to maintain their humanity, and that way you can always see them as like a tragic character. They are beasts, but they cannot give in to the beast within them. They have to remain human, or they will never again potentially have the chance. Because how the heck is let's go with an elephant person. The elephant turns into... How the heck is an elephant going to buy a passage back to the island of Markov to go undergo the surgery again to become human once more?
Can the elephant talk?
No. Not once they transform back.
Can the elephant draw, write notes with its trunk with
Possibly.
a pencil?
If we're going to assume that they maintain the brain and the proboscis could potentially write stuff.
There you go.
But who's going to give the elephant a chance to write something?
would.
Elephant, shoot it. This is Ravenloft, man. There's a 50-50 chance if you encounter an elephant in Ravenloft, it's a were-elephant. Yeah, that's a potential.
I'd give it the benefit of the doubt. If I'm in Ravenloft, I mean, I'm already screwed.
At least you go out with your sense of style intact. Okay.
With an elephant friend, who turns out, well, maybe he's a were-elephant and eats me, but then I become a were-elephant. So.
Well, you could become were-dung in that once the elephant eats you, you get processed into dung. There's no transformation back. But that's okay, because elephants don't really eat people very often.
Yeah. What would a were-elephant... I guess it would just, like,
it would gore you pretty good. And trust me, they got speed enough you cannot outrun the were-elephant. Which, by the way, I should really check up to see exactly how many were creatures they've got in 5th edition and work out some stuff there. I had some nice ideas for a good were, spider, because they never really managed to get it going in 3rd edition, and even 2nd edition was spotty back and forth as how to go.
They never did a were-spider. Huh.
They tended to try and keep it either to mammals or the larger creatures, were-shark,
yeah.
sort of thing. Other than that, it was generally given the assumption for most things, if you're a lycanthrope of some form, or therianthrope if you want to get technical, it would likely be with a mammal. I don't understand what the meta reasoning was for that, but it was almost always like some sort of mammal or a larger creature. Where snakes, for a great snake, it was never like, oh yeah, I'm a were garden viper,
Yeah,
no,
makes sense.
Like were anaconda. Keep that sort of mass roughly stable between shapes.
Yeah,
roughly.
I mean, basically, because these are monsters and they're intended for players, DMs, to be like, ooh, that's awesome, that's scary, that would scare my party. So you need that sort of fright factor.
You know what scares the hell out of somebody? Sneaking into the lady's room. It's like, ooh, she had the hots for me, I'm going to have a little romantic rendezvous. See you guys later. And all of a sudden, bam, you sneak in the covers, and she's a giant spider. A 6-foot-tall spider.
That's definitely creepy, yeah.
Yeah.
They should, yeah, well...
She was a Black Widow all along.
Black Widow, too.
She was luring you in. Although I suppose you could do the same with, a giant, praying mantis. In which case you give them cleric spells, too, because they're praying mantis.
Oh, boy.
And that's where things break down for me. I can't do dark without doing comedy somehow. Dang it. Well. But yeah, I really like the movie. I suppose if anyone can find it, give it a chance to give it a watch.
Well, yeah, I always link to these on, in our show notes.
There was 2 more
usually.
in the series. They were trying to do we've got a lot of monsters, but they're all guys. It's kind of a sausage fest. What if we had a monstrous woman? She could be like an ape that becomes a sexy lady, and why not? And so, yeah, Aquanetta reprised her role in the 2nd film, but apparently in the 3rd one they had some other actress do it.
Ah.
But, I don't know, complications, or maybe she was just a little too temperamental, or, I hate to say it, but maybe she was aged too much for the executive's liking. It happens. I hate to say it, but that's sometimes a reason why they'll not officially ever give. What's that? You're over 35 years old, and we can't use you in any movie unless you're going to play a grandmother. It's harsh. But yeah, it was especially interesting to think, this was 1943. Nazis could have watched this movie when it was fresh out. The soldiers of the Allied forces could have watched it.
Well, did the Nazis watch American films ever? I guess they must have at some point.
It was basically a movie about a transforming gorilla woman. And a bunch of lions and tigers. It's not exactly pro-America or anti-America.
But there wasn't really trade between the Nazi, Germany, obviously, because there was war. So they wouldn't have.
I'm sure they could have gotten it, sort of thing. Hey.
I mean, the spies.
We used our spies to get us a movie. It's like, oh boy, yeah, man. It's a good thing I got wounded in my leg. Now I get to, go see the hospital movie of the week. All right.
Somehow I don't think that the regime would appreciate the Allied forces movies. They would want to show their own version.
I don't know, because, the Aquanetta person was played by a lady who claimed non-European heritage. I believe... that's the thing. She kept giving off different reasons for my heritage is this to different organizations. So nobody's exactly 100% certain. But some cases seem to lead towards First Nations history, and some stuff leads towards the Oceania history.
But this is a Hollywood movie, though.
But she was also played as an ethnic thing, and the German people saying that, like, oh, we are the pure blood, like Aryan type thing, and like, look what happens. Of course, you can turn an ape into somebody who's not Aryan, ha ha ha.
Oh yeah.
So it could theoretically, with like the right dubbing over of lines into German, could fit with their paradigm. And I kind of hate to cast it at that light, but like they could have made that work. So if there's a movie they're going to steal from 1943, I haven't found one better that fits with their horrible ethnic paradigms.
I guess, you hear the story. This is also a pulp movie trope, is the Nazis doing weird experiments with animals and humans. I think some of the stories might even be true.
There was some stuff that they were basically butchers. Like Markov was not just the owl of Dr. Moreau. There was some Nazi scientist stuff going on in there. Yeah. So I'm glad that's about as much as they put into the setting for that. I like my dark version of Pinocchio. I like the Dracula stuff. I like the Jekyll and Hyde stuff. We don't need much more than just a despot who's a Vlad Tepes XP.
I find it hard to imagine. Because you hear stories about the Americans and Canadians on the front lines and whatever in World War II, and it was a very big deal and often very difficult to get films all the way from America, and they tried very hard, like off the supply lines were like, yeah, we really.
I will write Charlie Chaplin himself to say how much we need his humor here on the front lines.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how they managed, because obviously they had other supplies that they had to get to them, but so that
morale was very important. And that is,
like
it was very easy
slip
to
a
lose
movie
morale.
in there, but also like supply. That truck got blown up.
I'd be told the movies that they did have get sent over there, they were played until they fell apart.
Yeah.
Then put back together and played again.
Yeah, because sometimes, a movie they might only send one copy of your movie.
You just cycle it all around as much as possible, and that way, let's face it, war is hell is not just a quote; it's a good truth. So you gotta work hard for morale.
So
it's as important as the letters. They probably sent it with the mail.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe in the same truck as the mail.
Well, the same boats and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, boats, trucks, trains, all that.
Airplanes,
planes, trains, automobiles.
John Kennedy, but that movie came out a little after World War II.
A little bit later.
A few decades, just by a little.
But yes, okay, well...
I found it interesting that for the emotion in that one is she could experience love, or at least some sort of infatuation for, like the male lead in the movie, and that's perfectly fine. But as soon as she got the jealousy and anger, she transformed into the beast once more.
Oh, yeah.
Because, that gets me to thinking about D&D. For the longest time, except for that period in second edition when they didn't have Barbarian, but the first edition, like third, fourth, fifth, when they did have the Barbarian, that's always been their trope, is I transform and get stronger with my rage.
Yeah, so rage is the thing. So do you want to
we'll seg that one into seg that into the main topic, because I think that's a very interesting thing. Do you believe that if D&D was less combat-oriented, they'd have more, invoking of the other emotions?
Like besides anger? Yeah. Probably, yeah. Because we get anger as an emotion, as opposed to the other emotions. Anger is very embedded in the system of the game of Dungeons & Dragons.
Well, because it leads to fights, and fights are at the heart of the very system.
Yeah.
Well, the 5th edition's doing pretty good to help focus on exploration and role-playing, but it's still heavily based around a combat mechanic.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that, because I think each emotion sort of has its own place, and maybe, anger, sure, it goes along with combat, and it gets a little bit more emphasized there, but also, in role-playing, you cover all the gamut of the other various possible emotions
Cautious,
that you can
uncontrollable, hideous laughter, one of the most
that's
awkwardly
true.
named spells.
Well,
it incapacitates you with laughter, ha ha ha.
And is that an emotion? I don't know. It's more of
it's an emotional
psychological
response.
State, or even, I guess, it's kind of emotional. And there is a spell called literally emotion, I think.
It used to be 8 different spells. Thank goodness they rolled it up into one.
Yeah, did that.
I'm so happy that they've combined the spells. So you no longer have enlarge and reduce as 2 spells. It's just 2 halves of 1 spell.
Yeah, change size or something. And there's also
actually
calm
no,
emotion,
in
right?
5th edition it's actually just enlarge / reduce.
Oh, it's enlarge / reduce. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same spell. It's like the blindness deafness thing being 1 spell. It's just either spell by itself has its uses, but together with an either or, it has some very good potentials. So I'm glad that they did that.
It makes sense. Like as a wizard, you say the spell backwards and it versus backwards or something.
Oh, you just add like the negation, conjuration, physical gesture, and and all of a sudden you've reversed it. Hey, congratulations! Same thing with haste and slow. Woo.
Yeah.
But yeah. Do you think that if like you had like a D&D as a more role playing, less combat, there wouldn't be the barbarian as a rage thing? You might have bard with the being like the herald of the more positive emotions.
Well, you do have a bard.
You do, but
bard exists as a
the
class.
bard exists, but they're really more about inspiring others for bonuses as opposed to evoking the base emotions themselves, which is something that they really could do, and maybe like an archetype wouldn't hurt that bad.
Yeah. Well, induce like something like induce sadness or something. Like what would that? Is that something that could be done in D&D?
Yeah, I mean you could induce moroseness to cause like if for 5th edition disadvantage to like any roll.
Or I would like to see like sort of an equivalent to the barbarian. I think I did. What did I do?
You did a scion thing.
I did a scion
yes,
class
I think I have
that
a
had
copy of that
something
somewhere around here.
But I would like to do something where, like an emo class, where they get really sad, and then one of their stats, I don't know, could be
sulk, cry,
could be their wisdom, maybe their intelligence increases. I like the thought that your intelligence increases, your happiness decreases. That's sort of a thing.
Nice joke there.
Your wisdom increases, and suddenly you're like burdened with the burdens of the world, and you're all sad, and then you have more powers because of that, and then you can do more things. So it's sort of like an alternative to rage is like this ultra sadness.
Or maybe you could just like burn your stat points for power, so you get more foolish and all that. The sadder you get, all that. But that's because you're like effectively causing yourself like temporary.
Be a sad clown.
Stat damage rather than stat loss. You're just like, it comes back, but you're burning the points. Every point you burn, you wind up getting like power points for spells and all that stuff.
Yeah.
How does that sound to you?
Well, I like that idea. It could go either way, actually.
You could burn Constitution points by cutting yourself, too.
Oh, boy. Let's talk about emo.
Yeah, there's a bad chapter to open on that. That would be the dark, like, necromancer emo stuff. I cut myself for it. You actually work it up as a blood magic sort of thing, too, potentially. Cross over with something.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's done something like that in one of the stat books, or the splat books, like some kind of self-harming. I think Book of Vile Darkness actually had
probably, yes.
Yeah, 3rd edition Book of... Did they do a 4th edition?
In 5th edition, they have the over-channeling ability.
Oh, yeah? Another one?
Where you can, do the ability, and if you keep on trying it before you take the rest properly, you take damage. And it keeps increasing the more you take. And that's effectively... You could rework it so it's mechanically the same way, but, I cut myself to do the power. We don't advocate that, by the way, those who are listening. It's just like, we're just poking fun here.
Well, yeah, it's that sort of mature territory, that Book of Vile Darkness territory, where it's like, they put a sticker on the front of the thing because it's not for, for mature audiences.
Dude, these ladies are not, hiding behind, strategically placed articles of like furniture. We're showing everything here. So we're putting a sticker. Watch out.
Yeah, they did that. Although in older editions they had some nipple action.
But it's always attached to like a hag, so it's like, I don't need to see that.
Yeah. So the other thing about anger and rage, I wonder sometimes is it's not. It is used mechanically, but I don't know if it's used as much just in terms of pure just sort of motivation, like for your character.
What makes you so angry enough to gain stat bonuses when you get really cheesed off?
And definitely, like, I've played with players who, like, okay, I'm a guy, like, I'm a halfling who's got an anger issue, is super mad all the time, and, you know, that's his motivation. And that can kind of work. It's sometimes funny. Sometimes
I just eat too much sugar. Freaking out on this stuff. Give me more candy canes.
At other times, it gets kind of annoying because it's like, well, would a character really necessarily always be attacking everything? Because they often tend to ruin things for the party because, you know, getting to fights and everything. So
it's like, dude, we need healing. Don't attack, or we will join the other team.
Yeah.
You will find yourself mixed between two sides fighting you.
And also, like, I don't actually recommend this, or I don't think I do, but it's a thought that, like, you could have sort of, maybe they've done this, but you could have, like, a race or a tribe of people who are sort of really into anger or really...
Wookiees naturally have a rage ability.
Okay.
So we could go hit the D20 Star Wars and just port that to 3rd edition, convert to 5th.
Yeah.
And yeah, you... Ooh, now I think I know exactly what sort of race I want to try playing in 5th edition.
Uh-huh.
I want my Wookiee Barbarian.
All right.
Yeah. You know, I actually do have the playtest stuff from the last stuff they released before it became 5th edition was still D&D Next. I could have a Kender and a Wookiee playing in a campaign together.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Talk about unbalanced but hilarious.
I think they did the Maenad from Expanded Psionics Handbook in 3rd edition. Also,
they were very emotion, but they were like, weren't they all emotion? It wasn't just like, I'm angry. It's like they really have their heart on their sleeve, sort of thing. When they're sad, they're morose.
I think it was something like that. Yeah.
Kender are the same way. You know, apparently, you know, you get a bunch of Kender crying, sort of thing, and that'll move even all but the blackest-hearted villain to tears.
Yeah. Now, there's Barbarian Rage, and then there's just, I get really angry. Like,
I haul off and smack them on.
That happens in D&D, right? People get mad. And
especially with 5th edition with their flaws. That becomes a very good way to role-play those flaws, rather than just like, I haven't really rolled much dice in the last 20 minutes. I'm falling off and popping them on right in the nose.
Yeah.
So at least it's that way.
It's like ill-tempered or something, like that's the name of the flaw.
Well, in which case, you know, it's just like, like the darn half-orcs. I'm getting flashbacks when the orcs, you know, salted the family's land so that nothing would ever grow on their farm. I hate you dang orcs.
And I'm curious about, like, if we can sort of explain, like, how anger works as a motivation, because part of it is just sort of chemical. It's just sort of some people are just a little bit more prone to anger.
Well, there's
right?
the thing. We can split anger into two angers. The hot rage anger of the barbarian, which is, you know, like an adrenaline surge. And what it explains, you know, the constitution bump you get is not really increased constitution. It's you ignoring everything else. It's like you're so hopped up on the adrenaline.
Because you get fatigued after.
Yeah, you don't notice you're getting, you know, like hurt that much. And the adrenaline helps pump your muscles. Yeah, I got advantage to all strength rolls now, buddy. Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. And then you have the cold, calculating rage, the long-term one that marks the new paladin type in 5th edition, the Dark Knight one, in which case their search for vengeance, you know, like I get the Batman paladin, I suppose, you know, such that it's like, I'm not, you know, hauling off and hitting everything, but I will track this down. I will get this done. As long as there's a breath coming in me, and maybe even beyond that, depending on how undeath works in this campaign, I will hunt down, I will keep going, I will find the people responsible for this. And that's the cold rage. That's the one that defines and twists lives. Not to say that, you know, hitting the wrong person at the wrong time isn't necessarily going to, you know, completely affect your life, and, you know, especially in the real world. Yeah. You lose your temper and you pop someone while you're at work, well, there goes your job. There goes any chance of probably getting hired. You know, like, if anyone asks, you know, like, why is he no longer working with you? Assault charge. And then, court for assault charges. So, you know, like, the hot anger can definitely change your life. Mm-hmm. But the cold anger, that's something you work your life around. Your life is just the sinew, the rage that you have in there, the cold rage, that's the bone.
It all sounds very unhealthy, but definitely dramatic, so.
Well, that's part of D&D. It's got to be dramatic, and you got to make for and it makes for good, relatable storytelling. Everyone's been angry before. If you've never been angry before, you might want to go see a doctor. There might be some imbalance going on.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask about. I was going to speculate on that because people have said to me that like they perceive me as a very even-keeled person who never sort of who doesn't like.
I find you sagaciously calm.
Yeah, people find me calm and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm wondering if there's something.
You probably just deal with it.
I just don't. Well, I might not have the same levels of some certain anger chemical or whatever, and that just it's not there or something like that.
I think you handle it better though, because I remember when you were telling me about your bike getting stolen.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You are possibly the calmest person I've ever heard about anything like that sort of thing. I remember when my old roommate had his car broken into and all his CD thing taken, all the CDs stolen. And if we were to track him down now, not too hard. I could get him probably about 48 hours notice. I could get a hold of him. But if he was to tell that story, it would come back, and he'd still be spitting mad about the whole thing.
Huh.
And that was just over a decade, maybe about a decade and a half ago now. And so that's still very fresh. But you were the calmest person I've ever seen have something like that happen to their mode of transportation, which can be a very close personal subject. When my car broke down, it was like a betrayal. It was my Judas. It was my Brutus.
Yeah.
It was just like, On the one hand, I felt so bad because it was like that was the final straw for my first car. And it's like, you always remember your first. On the other hand, you traitor. You stinking traitor. Yeah. I was going to go to my 10-year reunion. Everything was set up perfect, and you had to just keel over and die.
Yeah, and people, we get mad.
I do love that car, by the way. In my dream, when I dream of driving, I am in that car.
This is your previous car.
My first car, yes, the previous one.
Yeah.
I love it, but when I think about how it betrayed me, on just before the toll booth outside of Hope, at least I didn't have to pay the toll, to get through the toll booth sort of thing on that one, and then have my car break down. I broke down on the right side. At least it gave me that. It broke down. I managed to make it to the bathroom, so that was we were waiting for the tow truck. At least we could use the bathroom properly.
That's something.
Yay! My silver lining. The only thing of value left in that car was the amount of gas in the tank. I traded it for a trip to the Greyhound so I could get back and find a new car before work started up again a week later. Never did make it to the reunion.
Oh, yeah.
Anger. But yes, you were calm on that. I don't think it's like you're not producing. Where your androgen hormone levels at, buddy? No, I think you just deal with it better, and maybe that's the dividing line between. Well, I mean, heck, that's what for the Avengers movie, with the Hulk.
Yeah.
Tony Stark refers to him as the giant green rage monster.
Oh, and he says something like, "I'm always angry."
Or there was a nice scene in there where he's putting his clothes on after falling for so far, and the guard gave him the clothes, asked him, "So which one are you? A little guy that grows big or a big guy that gets all tiny?" He's like, I don't even know.
Yeah. So
he's so clear on that line for his anger issues that he's not even certain whether or not he's Banner who becomes the Hulk or the Hulk who becomes Banner.
Yeah.
Which is scary and deep at the same time. That's something to sit down and think about next time you got a few moments, man. You're waiting for your computer to boot up. No, you just sit down and think about that.
Which is real.
It's like, geez, what if he really is the Hulk who just transforms into Banner? Whoa. But yeah, and so I think the Hulk is an interesting one too to show for Rage in a non D&D format. Because that's basically his thing. The angrier Hulk gets, the stronger Hulk gets. Where there comes a situation where every once in a while you get the other heroes purposely pissing off the Hulk because he has to hold a mountain up, and if he isn't so angry enough to hold up the mountain, they all die. Well, a mountain-sized like asteroid sort of thing is crushing everybody if it comes down.
Yeah.
How the Hulk is able to not crush himself into the dirt underneath him was never addressed. That's just something all super strong characters can do in the comics.
I'm wondering too. Like we talked a little bit about adrenaline and a bit about pumping yourself up, but does anger really serve that role? Because there are martial arts styles that are very you purge yourself of emotion. And or you channel it into one massive strike right at the right time, but the rest of the time you're super calm.
You can't be angry though, because when you're angry, you act sloppy.
Yeah.
And when you're doing the martial arts, you have to be smart. You have to keep your wits aware, even if it's only just a fraction of a second difference from reaction. pop this, move here, do this rear combo, move out of the way for this so you don't get attacked here. Don't open your guard. When you are angry, you just want to hurt something. And, you know, I'll admit, I have been angry before. I've been angry enough to take my brother, my youngest brother, not my middle brother, but my youngest one, grab him by the scruff of his
People
collar.
will have heard on this podcast.
Yes, my youngest one, Jason. Grab him by the scruff of his neck when he was, you know, in the front seat of the family Jeep, and just pull him straight out of that Jeep. Buckled and all that, just straight out like he was like a bag of groceries. yeah, he got me that cheesed off.
Yeah.
So it can do some amazing things, but I would have gotten my ass handed to me if I was up against somebody who knew martial arts.
I can remember getting sort of white hot mad at my brother. You know, I mean, just over
Nobody can get you as angry as family can get you angry. Let's say that right here and now. We love them the most, and they can push the buttons the clearest.
And it's just stupid stuff. Like, I shouldn't get mad at him for making a stupid face or whatever, but, you know, that's brothers.
They know exactly what stupid face to make to set you off. It's how it goes.
Yeah. So I've been there.
I mean, heck, I got mad enough at my other brother Adam once that he hid in the family van, and I almost tipped the van over. If it wasn't for the other family members pulling me away from the van, I could have tipped that dang thing over. I would probably have just absolutely regretted it afterwards, but at the time I didn't care. That thing was going over.
Now, do you think these are sort of... Well, I know girls get mad too, but I'm wondering if this is a special... Like, it wouldn't be just unique to boys. I think girls get mad too.
I think anyone getting cheesed off enough can do that sort of thing, yeah.
I'm wondering if it's a boy thing.
Or if it's more societally okay for boys to get that angry.
Maybe.
Think about it that way.
Physically, yeah. I mean, because do we have I'm kind of curious. This is almost real life talk, but do we have situations, like, do we have jobs like, you know, a soldier or something like that? Do we actually still require people to get, like, mad? I guess actors.
No, on the battlefield, you should be as calm as possible.
Yeah, so there's really no reason, like, we don't have any reason to have people be required to be angry anymore.
Required? No, but if you do need to do some deconstruction when you're doing renovations, getting a full head of anger would possibly help you out.
The guy operating the wrecking ball?
No, I was thinking more like the guys that have to work with the crowbars and all that stuff.
Crowbar and a sledgehammer,
Yeah, the people who have to do that, and an adrenaline shot here and there probably wouldn't hurt.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
I've done some of the deconstruction, and being calm will minimize chances of you... hurting yourself with what you're doing. Yeah. But like you come to work with a chip on your shoulder, and you are one of the most efficient workers of the day there, I'll tell you that. That said, nobody actually ever condones it, because you got to work with other people. And unless everyone's equally angry at the same direction, you're going to start butting heads, and then you got two angry people butting heads with crowbars and hammers. And that's not exactly the best recipe.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what evolutionary advantage. Anger almost feels to me like a social thing. Like, you get angry to motivate, to scare other humans into doing what you want. I do use my
authoritative dad voice when Zoe's acting up. And that does, she has expressed times, she's like, she's not doing what her mom is saying, you know, Zoe, you know, I'll use the proper voice, and I don't want to say it too loud to make sure she doesn't get scared now. But she will
dream of you.
She will get quiet, and she will go over to my wife, and she'll go, Daddy, mad.
Yeah.
So in which case, you know, like, I'm not actually mad. I'm just using the father voice, and do as your mom tells you.
Sure. Yeah.
Sort of thing.
So I feel like there isn't an advantage in that whole, like, you know, go crazy and wreck stuff. That doesn't really help anybody. Not in a tribal sense, not in the Industrial Revolution, not in the modern information age. Like, that never helps.
The only time getting angry and hurting stuff ever helps out is when you are against nature. And even then, I mean, so long as you can get away with not having to confront nature, you're still better off that way.
Yeah, it seems to be...
I've had to fight a deer before, and I gotta say, without the adrenaline, I might not be here today.
Yeah, I guess there's adrenaline. But yeah, it seems to be anger is more of a social, like, it's more about intimidation. It's more about that social interaction rather than just, you know, helping you accomplish chopping down a tree because you got mad at the tree. It seems.
And you hardwood, why won't you chop faster?
Although,
get a chainsaw.
I mean,
do it right.
Getting mad at chopping a tree or using a crowbar on a building that you're demolishing, it feels good. There's
a cathartic release,
right? And sometimes people will pay to destroy something, or they go on a. I'm trying to think.
They'll go to like a flea market, get themselves like a bunch of old plates and all that, and take them off somewhere where they can just like whip them down into the garbage one by one.
Yeah, that's true. Or we used to I didn't participate, but people used to throw couches off of cliffs and that's not really anger. That's more just, what's going to happen is going to be awesome.
We got to get rid of the couch somehow. Then again, the Christmas trees and the wood chippers is always fun too.
Yeah.
Didn't get what I wanted. Dang you, tree.
Yeah. I guess, yes, in some of those you can sort of role play out a little bit of anger and get mad at it.
And then there's loud sounds going on. So I guess maybe you could say, like, for stuff like wood chippers, the machine is getting angry for you. It's the rage.
Yeah.
It's the destruction. You're just the person that tosses in. You get to enjoy all the benefits. You get to enjoy the high. The machine takes care of the actual rage.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a good way of thinking about it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And of course, also sort of on the theme while I'm thinking, we have sort of culturally, we have heavy metal music and we have mosh pits.
Head banging and the black metal stuff and
Yeah, and so we seem to enjoy getting mad and getting worked up. And of course,
I do find for music, like when I've had a hard day at work, sort of thing, and I need a little time to myself, sort of thing, so I sit down, toss the headphones on, I'll play some of the heavier music, and just having someone sing the angry music makes me feel better. It's like I'm not alone in my anger, and just like it's kind of like, yes, it's like anger is like socially condoned in this respect. I'm feeling better like that. It's like, when you've got like a muscle that's all locked up and you get somebody to massage a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
The angry music's like the massage for your anger muscle.
Yeah, although, personally, I'm not that into massages. I don't really like them, but I know
if you've ever had a
do.
muscle lock up and you need that massage to loosen up, like a Charlie horse.
Yeah. People need that.
Although apparently a nice swift, punch to the muscle when you get a Charlie horse will do the same as a thing, and it does it quicker.
Oh, yeah.
And you've had a Charlie horse before?
Yes.
Yes, so then you want to get rid of that pain as quick as possible. You are willing to punch yourself really hard in the calf. So in that case, like listening to the music acts as the massage or the punch that relieves the built up emotional stress. Do
you think like your D&D character or your story character, like what would they do in a medieval? I guess they go to the tavern and drink and then get in a fight or something like that to blow off steam.
Now here's the thing, though. After the rage wears off, like you remember like Ghostbusters 2 with the mood slime, where they're feeling like $1,000,000 after they get hit with a positive slime?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Why not have that play out? That's how your barbarian goes after they're done with the rage.
They just feel great.
I'm just gonna groove on everything, man. I don't know. I don't want to attack anybody. It's whatever, man. I got through with that. I'm feeling so emotionally cleaned out right now. It's just, yeah. Would that be better than just like, okay, the rage wears off. Now I'm tired. No, it's like now that you've worked through some of your problems, it's like, just like emotional, like before it was like emotional gridlock. Now it's just like, you're the only person on the highway. It feels so good. Yeah,
I like that. Because, I like picturing the barbarian. He's like, so powerful and so strong. And then, the rage wears off. And then something happens to him. He's like, so weak. I don't want to do anything.
Mind you, a lot of people that have had the adrenaline surge, they will feel the fatigue afterwards.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly like someone's just making up rules. Like, okay, or you're really good for a bit, and then you're really bad for a bit afterwards. No, this is based on proper physiology. Yeah,
but as far as role playing goes, if you're just role playing your character, you can just be raging. Is that your thing? Something? Okay, you can be raging still, and the rage can wear off. And you can just role play the same and just take the penalties, just eat the penalties. Just say, oh yeah, I'm still, still mad, but
it's the low rage. I'm not at the high rage.
You just can't hit quite as hard.
But I do kind of like showing all the emotions because, as we said, when it comes to stuff like horror and humor and all that, the contrast is what shows it best.
Okay.
I think they said, for like the Wheel of Time, they're asking about like the tapestry, which describes all of reality. And they're saying, like, well, how come, like, the tapestry's got, like, some people living horrible, poverty-stricken lives over here while other people are rich beyond their wildest means over here? Why doesn't the tapestry just weave everybody being awesome, living a happy life? And they're like, well, how good does a tapestry look when it's all the color red? If every strand in a tapestry is the same shade of red, how good does it look? You need the contrast to show the highlights.
Yeah, I think so.
Which, is, at least explains something like reality. It's kind of harsh, like, no. You know what's awesome? And what looks great? Everything being awesome. So if you say that everything's like, every thread here means awesomeness, look at all this awesome. That's a lot of awesome. All right. I don't care about the highlights and lowlights. I don't care if it doesn't look as good. Everything's awesome, and that's pleasing to know. So it ultimately fails as an explanation, but it works for the story.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, sometimes you get modern art which is very minimalistic, and it's like, it's all red, and then this tiny little, white square or something like that.
Although you can do some very interesting things if you're using the right paint, that the color strokes shaped differently. So,
you
so that way,
just do
under
all
the
red.
right lighting sort of thing, so you could have it change to other things. It's like, oh, here's full lighting where it looks just like one shade, and then you have it dimmed down where the direction of the strokes gets highlighted, and then shapes start to emerge from that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a little bit beyond my actual ability to make, but I don't if you can see that happening, that's pretty groovy.
No, that's cool. It's just about go this way for a little while. Now go this way for up and down. Now go sideways.
It's like one of those magic, magic 3D puzzles. You have to look at it the right way for everything to come out at you.
Yeah, I like that analogy because there's emotion is one thing that you sort of insert into D&D, and you say, okay, there's emotion. That's one sort of dimension.
You could technically do without that. You could make an entire campaign setting where everybody's just like Spock. Yeah, everyone's completely logical. I want your gold. You have it. You will not give it to me. I must kill you to get it.
Yeah, well, it's hard to get a group to go along with that, unless you say, okay, group, you're all Spock.
We can kill much more efficiently if we all kill together.
Yeah, but that's one character.
That's one character in 4 parts, which is an interesting way of looking at Vulcan society. They're all one part, a logical whole mind thing. But maybe a topic for another day, looking at the logical race on its own.
Could be, yeah.
But I just like to note that there are the other emotions in D&D throughout the editions. Like you go to Hades, and they have the gloom of Hades, where you just get so depressed. You run the risk of becoming another one of the shades of Hades, where you just don't do anything. You're so depressed, you just stand around, sit around, doing nothing, because what's the point? Meanwhile, at the other end of the Great Wheel of Cosmology, you have your Elysium, where you're so, in a reverie of oh, everything is so awesome, that you become completely useless. So you're just riding your own personal high forever, man.
Yeah, which sort of explains why dead people don't come back or don't visit too often.
Oh, but the barrier between here and the hereafter is so vast. Why do I even try?
It's like the psychic or the guy who talks to dead people is like, okay, I'm going to call your granddad and we'll see if he answers. Ring, 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 ring.
Why do I pick up the phone? It's probably a telemarketer. They found a way to phone into the afterlife. But that's it. I really did like that in 3rd edition with the gloom of Hades and the reverie. Or I guess not reverie. It's just kind of like a funk and groove sort of thing. Yeah, the bliss of Elysium.
Yeah.
Because they made the planes, the outer planes, something different. And so I had an idea. I'm still trying to work out the full details of creating, instead of the outer planes being just based on alignment, base them on emotions. The physical plane, planes would be the elemental planes. There's nothing emotional to them. They are what they are. They are objective. And then at a 90-degree angle, you have just the mind. And the conflux, the prime material plane is where they both meet, and that's how you have like living creatures. They are mind and physical body. Yeah. And so you'd have like all the emotions and all the mental sets, existing instead of their alignment.
Yeah, I remember seeing a paper. I don't think it's quite as simple as this, but somebody tried to sort of simplify psychology and sort of identify the sort of the core or essential emotions.
Oh, the color wheel. I've seen that one. I've seen the Google up color wheel. It's a piece of nice images.
I think it goes.
Sometimes they do it as a cube, X, Y, Z axis. Where's your emotion sitting at? Okay. Sometimes it's a color wheel. I like the color wheel because that way you can keep the Great Wheel cosmology style.
Yeah, it could be a wheel.
And then it's still a wheel, but this one's a wheel of colors.
Yeah, let's see if I can remember the ones that I think there's anger, happiness, sadness, disgust. Anger, happiness, sadness, disgust.
It's like the seven dwarfs, isn't it?
Fear. Yeah. It sort of maps. Well, there's 7 dwarfs. There are 6 of these. So sleepy is not one of them. And I think I got 5.
Sleepy's the plane of dreams. He just tangents off in another way.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. Anyways, it's something else. It's one of the other.
There's a lot of contention as to what qualifies as that. So some people say there's only the 3 basic emotions: your anger, your happiness, and your fear. Because those are the ones based off of the prime chemicals. Your adrenaline, your endorphin, and I suppose it's the same one for fear as for rage. It's the fight or flight response.
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, anger, fear, disgust, happiness, sadness, and.
But yeah, I mean, could you imagine like an outer plane sort of thing where the temperamental planes, where you'd have. Forget, the demons, who's got, like the succubus in this edition sort of thing. It's like, no, that's just the emotion of lust coming in there. Mm-hmm. And then you'd wind up with, like, your rage sort of thing. It'd be like Erythnol and all the people that just rage forever. And you could have all sorts of fun emotional things like that. You could keep Mechanus as a sort of thing, and it'd be like a mental state of well, I guess if you keep the Great Wheel cosmology, and you have your happiness and sorrow for your positive and negative, you could work with Limbo and Mechanus, where Limbo is just like the mad panic. It's all instinct and no real thought to it.
So fear, kind of panic?
It'd be like a fear or just a pure emotion, panic sort of, like it's the response. There's no time for thought. Because that's Limbo. It's always changing. It doesn't give you a chance to form a logical mind. You got to always react to it. You can't, logically deduce. By the time you've logically thought it out, it's something else. You're too late. Whereas over in Mechanus, you could hit like the reverie of always planning but never doing. Where you're always like making the plans. The kind of person that always, yes, I got plans for this, and never actually accomplishing anything because they always
story of my life.
They always go into another plan, and they always go into another plan, and so you could see somebody like getting stuck in Mechanus, always making plans but never actually enacting that, whereas somebody over in Limbo is always doing something but never planning anything. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so you could try working the planes out into the Great Wheel, because maybe have to like bang it around a bit to knock everything into there, but you could probably come up with a motion for all the major axes for the alignments and just try and work it around with that.
Yeah, I think you could.
So you could even work at this like, is there a nice way to make a good alignment version of this and a negative alignment? So you could have your whole lust thing could be like a paradigm on like the good evil axis. Lust could be neutral, envy sort of thing, like that sort of stuff could be the evil version, and love could be the positive equivalent of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Is there a positive equivalent of rage, or is rage itself neutral? Is rage only evil? Is there another end of things to it?
Yeah. Well, we didn't. I sort of was wondering about righteous anger, but we didn't really get into that. But yeah.
I think we got enough time to at least start giving it a bit of a cover on this bit. But that's the thing, is to think about it, is like in D&D there is no actual alignment relationship to anger, despite the fact everyone in Western society say, no, anger's a bad thing. It will only wind up tripping you in the long run. I find you can use it as a fuel to keep you going. People won't want to be around you when you're working angry, but you can work better, you can work harder, you can keep yourself going. Yeah. When other people will fatigue because, God dang it, this will happen. I will not let this beat me. I will fix this darn machine and we will get this working today. Blah!
Yeah, well, I mean, the two places where I allow myself to rage and not
the internet.
One is the internet,
Yeah.
and the other is traffic.
Well, that's the thing. Traffic has an interesting paradigm with it.
Uh-huh.
Somebody's doing something you don't like that you're putting people in danger, sort of thing, buddy.
Yeah.
You swear at them. They swear at you. You both make gestures and all that, and then you go on driving.
Yeah.
Some people don't get that. It's just you vent, he vents, you vent, he vents. You both take your own direction off wherever. You don't follow the person down, take a gun out, and shoot them.
Well, most of us don't.
No, you shouldn't. But I mean, that's the sort of
Yeah.
thing. Like that happens in some areas, but they don't understand the weird driving dynamic. You curse and flip them off. They flip you off.
Yeah.
You pull ahead and you make sure you're in there. In the proper area where you need to go.
Yeah, in a way. I mean,
But
I
you
know
don't.
that
You let it go, and once it's done, it's gone.
you
You don't keep your hold on the anger. You open that fist and just let it go. It's like flinging feces with monkeys. Eventually, you're gonna run out of feces. Don't keep searching for more. Once it's gone, it's gone. The monkey can't poop forever, man.
Can't they? I mean, if they just wait a little while.
Yeah.
Have
wait
another meal.
Wait till it builds up again. But you don't keep holding that last piece in your hand, waiting for another opportunity to fling it, right? Because then you wind up with a really stinky, gross hand, even by monkey standards.
Yeah, I don't think monkeys care that much about stinky hands.
They do wash up sometimes. You can get them to do that.
They're
not as good as raccoons, who, by the way, you can horribly trick with sugar cubes.
Oh.
They will fastidiously wash anything they get before they eat it.
So the sugar cube will be gone.
Yes. You can keep giving them sugar cubes. They will keep reactively washing
that sounds cruel.
It is incredibly
I bet they
cruel.
would love sugar cubes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you give it like a nice little candy coating. Give them some like M&M. I don't think there's any nut allergies for them. And they would have died off if they had a nut allergy long ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, just toss them some M&Ms. They'll wash the M&Ms and pop them in the mouth. Don't give them sugar cubes. That's just cruel, man. That's cruel. That's another emotion entirely. And there's no positive end to that. That's pure negative.
But yeah, it's like I was saying, the sort of the social motivation of anger is that you get angry at another agent who you think, well, obviously in a car,
You have
it's
wronged me.
difficult
You could have killed people.
Yeah.
No, yeah, man.
And what is... Yeah, so anger... And anger on the internet, I think that's a little bit different because sometimes there's a little bit of anger, like righteous anger. You see this in maybe like debate videos on the internet. Sometimes people they'll get mad at their opponents. They're like, "How can you say that? You're lying. You're being inconsistent. You're doing this." And you get a little bit, and you can get the crowd on your side a little bit.
That is why I respect Richard Dawkins. Despite all the people flinging all the stuff at him, he remains incredibly calm. Like, whether you like him or not, you have to respect his ability to remain calm with all that anger fuel just sitting around for him to use.
Well, that he could righteously get mad at because people are kind of jerks.
He's like watching like a professional fencer. So you just expect a fencer to get eventually get angry at all the stuff going on there. No, a good fencer remains calm and logical about the whole thing, and that's how I see Richard Dawkins when he's like doing his verbal arguments. He's a fencer. He doesn't get the angry. He just keeps pursuing the attack in the logical means, and he keeps his high ground at all times.
For the most part, yeah. And
I haven't seen him post any rage videos.
Well, I've seen him get like a little bit sort of red in the face, but only
he's
for a second.
Because he's explaining the same thing again.
Well, and only for a second, and then it's back to normal again. So I don't even know if that would even count as anger. That sort of,
or maybe he's just so good at dealing with it. It's there for a second, and then he's like, no, if I get angry, then I cannot keep my high ground, and it is imperative for me to keep the high ground if I want to maintain the proper stance of my argument. This will not help me. Yeah. I mean, Lord knows that keeps me calm a lot of times. Getting angry is not going to help you now. You might have to force a smile, but keep your calm. Because when you're in an argument with other people, sometimes the most infuriating thing you can do is be happy.
That's true, yeah.
And there's like no one can get like say, how dare you stay happy at me? How dare you treat me with respect? Blah 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 blah. They just have to sit there and take it. They have to take your happiness, and that's the best revenge. That's a nice anger management technique for you. Just stay happy and shove it in their face with your happiness. You're not getting any rage back, buddy. I'm not playing your game.
Yeah, well, I like that because if you can explain yourself, in that calm way, It almost feels like anger, especially like in a debate or whatever. Yeah, the person who loses their cool loses the argument. Or,
which I think should count for points. Can you present this calmly and logically?
I think so, yeah. But and sometimes, though, I mean, emotion is something we do in rhetoric, in speaking, like when we're trying to convey a point. Sometimes we do have to raise our voice a little bit. I'm trying to think of a good example, like, I don't know, maybe Malcolm X or something.
I want a box full of donuts back in university for giving an impassioned argument.
But I shouldn't say Malcolm, because even he did, like, most of the time gave normal, like, speeches and trying to.
Oh, he did do very passionate speeches, though. You can't deny him that. He's got that going for him. A lot of presidential speeches are mixed, I guess pre-presidential when they're running, have to mix like the I'm intelligent and calm with I have a lot of passion for this. I really stand behind this.
I guess you don't necessarily want to confuse that anger with passion.
So then maybe passion is the positive equivalent. Anger is the anger is the neutral ground, and rage. The I want to murder you rage sort of thing, that's the evil version of it.
Yeah.
So then that's how you put it in the D&D perspective. You want to rise above your neutrality and go towards the good alignment. Just keep your passion for it.
Yeah. Oh, and one other, I just wanted to also point out about anger. So there's this one little aspect of anger in that sometimes you look really ridiculous when you lose your cool. Like, depending on the person, but
I've seen people get upset over the pettiest of things.
Yeah.
Like go to fast food somewhere. Go to McDonald's and just get yourself something to eat. Sit somewhere close to the register and just wait to see how long before someone gets really upset about the dumbest
You
thing.
feel so embarrassed for them, right? Like
no, I will still laugh at them. I don't feel bad for them. I will mock them.
I do sometimes. So there's an aspect of sort of almost stupidity to, like, you look really bad when you
don't look smart when you're angry. I will say that
when you get mad. And so I'm wondering, like, when a barbarian in D&D rages, we never really see that really dumb. Like,
I'll rip your head off and beat you in the face with it.
Just losing it, just kind of.
It would be nice to have the intelligent stuff take a penalty as you're raging.
I think it doesn't it. Some of the checks do. Like you can't even make intelligence skills.
But it would be nice to see take a penalty on any attempt for smart thinking while you're got the rage going through your system. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So I guess you should take a charisma penalty and all that because people think, wow, gee, what's wrong with him? I mean, sure, he's getting all the kobolds,
charisma bonus to intimidating people, but like a charisma penalty for any other sort of thing. People will follow you out of fear, but they won't respect you about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, now that we've established like the good, neutral evil equivalencies in D&D for the anger.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What would you think about making sure that the bloodthirsty barbarians have the blood rage? They're the evil ones.
Sure.
Your generic sort of, whatever, I flip out and get angry sort of thing, they're the neutral. And your heroic barbarian just has such a passion for whatever it is they're fighting, that stirs them up. So that instead of actually being anger, it's just an impassioned moment.
Yeah, sure.
And you know what? I think, I'm imagining it this way. I see an elf being able to be a paladin. I see an elf, and not just going up to the paladin stuff, going over to the barbarian thing that way. Because elves are usually one with nature, but you don't think elven barbarian very often.
Except for the wild elves.
Well, it's the thing, the wild elves sort of thing, they still don't seem to fit the mark for barbarian. Now with the green paladins they have in 5th edition, you can see them being the paladin now. You weren't able to see them before. They weren't even able to be in some editions a paladin. But now you can see them going that way. So now that we've got the passion rather than just pure anger, could you see the elven passion causing them to gain the bonuses? Could you see that with the halflings? With their passion for I must defend the Shire, and then just flipping out and just smacking someone really hard.
Although some players still like the angry little guy.
It does have some fun tropes to play with, and nobody expects the pocket barbarian. Or the whole bit, I remember a couple stuff for a fighter, played by a gnome in World of Warcraft, where they've got one of those little baby harnesses, and after the fighter's done their whirlwind thing or their great cleave attack, they have to get put into the baby carrier because they get tired and fall asleep. As a nice reoccurring joke there, at least for the Alliance side. But yeah, with the passion thing, you can see how that changes the dynamic. You keep the adrenaline surge, but you lose the I'm going to mess your face up sort of thing. Like, I must get this done. So that might have to be an archetype we'll have to write up for ourselves then, if we want to be the good aligned barbarian elf.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it might just be a simple matter of just
aesthetic
changing the words,
yeah.
like just skinning, basically. Like,
well, I think now that they've got like the archetype for the green paladin, as opposed to just saying like, "Oh, I'm just a very happy paladin of the arts," like they had in previous editions. Having the green barbarian style might work out too.
Yeah,
because that way you could have like a person who's technically the barbarian class, but still be like someone as a member of society. It's like, I am the artist you don't want to piss off, because I will fly into such a rage as you mock my artwork. And I guess it's called a rage then, but it's just because I'm so impassioned about my art, and you cannot see the beauty of the subtle intricacies here. Ah! Thank goodness I got a mallet and chisel, because you're going down with this weapon, buddy. So you can see that then. So I think that gives us some interesting redefinition of the barbarian and what it can do and who it can apply to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very nice. I'm liking that.
Cool.
And I think we've come a pretty decent way on that one.
Yes,
I think
we have.
I think that meets a nice conclusion point.
Well, we should let our listeners know if they want to get in contact with us. thesimulationist@gmail.com is our email address. They can follow me on Twitter or just tweet at me at SpacebootOne. Spaceboot numeral 1 is my Twitter handle. And also you can check our Facebook page, facebook.com/thesimulationist, and our YouTube channel. And it all has the same stuff, but there's little boxes that you can enter little comments or communications to us, and we will read them all, and we will be happy.
Yeah, like if you found like a 3rd edition Splat book that's got like barbarian working with other emotions, like somebody took like the other emotions from the emotion spell and made a barbarian class equivalencies for each one of those.
The Fear-barian.
Or the Laughter-barian, the Jolly-barian.
Jolly-barian.
I would like to hear about that. I would like to see that book. I would like to potentially hunt it down, but only if you guys can tell me what book that is. I can't hunt blindly.
Yeah. So, send us email with that information if you happen to have it. Or if you just want to chat or whatever reason, just send us a message.
You guys got an idea for something for us to talk about? We'll do that too.
Yeah. Isn't there like in, I don't know if it's in fiction, but isn't there like sort of an archetype of a laughing warrior that sort of does a weird like ha ha ha, or as
the Errol Flynn type of fighter, where it's like aha, have at thee, and they use like the more dexterous stuff as they slash and then jump on a chandelier and go about there, and they make jokes at the other person's expense.
Yeah, I wonder if that ever happens in sort of real life. I mean, I guess there are a lot of soldiers with good senses of humor, so there's that.
I suppose if you were to get a good comedic person to learn the proper like drunken master technique, you could adapt it.
Yeah.
Into I mean, Spider-Man is a nice example of that sort of person, where he throws out the jests to knock the person off their guard, and next thing you know, the regularly cunning smart I'll go Vulture in this case, is just dive bombing. I'll get you, Spider-Man out there, and all of a sudden, there's a wall behind him. Looks like he's hitting the wall. Because I mean, the Vulture's a guy smart enough to create a self-powered flight suit, and yet he's very much ruled by his petty anger issues, and he can get tricked into flying into like a spider web that Spider-Man made, or even sometimes a wall.
Does Spider-Man ever actually like win a fight purely through comedy, like just like the bad guy just laughs so hard he's just like, okay, I give up. I'm just laughing. That joke
probably
is so
not
funny.
One of the bigger villains, but if there's like a first time sort of thing, you can probably get him to like realize the idiocies. Like, you're planning on doing this, you're likely going to get 5 years in jail, but you're going to wind up doing that for $3,000 in your bag. Just toss the money down. Don't try this again, and the cops will find the bag as I spray it up against the wall there.
That's not that good of a joke, but
but he could present it in such a style. You're going to do
somewhere.
something that dumb. I mean, I've seen a lot of dumb criminals fighting here in New York, but, and give off some sort of comedy line about that. If there was a hero that could do it, I bet you Spider-Man would be the guy.
It's hard to be laughed at, though, unless you're a comedian yourself and you appreciate the genre.
I do recall I guess it'd be the climax scene of the return of the Joker for the Batman Beyond series.
Could you defeat the Joker by making a good enough joke, do you think? Like, if you were funny enough, if you're like, with the Joker,
probably not if you're funny enough.
Than me. so I'm gonna give up.
The Joker does take his role fairly seriously. Whenever Harley winds up doing a better joke than him or making a joke work that he couldn't, he gets very angry.
Oh yeah.
He's jealous. He's got to be the humorous one. That said, you can get him sloppy angry if you laugh at him for the wrong reasons.
Oh yeah. We didn't. Yeah, now that we got to the Joker, we didn't talk too much about anger as the villain's motivation. We talked more about
it's just a little
anger.
too easy. It's a nice way sort of thing. It's like, what's his reason? He's angry. Just angry.
I mean, we see it all the time. So, but yeah, I guess. And I guess villains see themselves as their own heroes. So everything we said about heroes having anger probably applies to villains, just in their own context.
In a darker, more intense fashion, because that's how the villain rolls.
Yeah. Better, basically. Villains are better than heroes.
They are easier to write, and they do a lot more proactive stuff. I will say that. You don't see the hero going to a place before it's been taken over, by the evil tyrant. They're always reactionary. So. Oh, but yes, I think that's been a good iteration this week.
Yes, yeah, we should.
We
wrap
managed
it up
to do an
with
entire iteration the day after Valentine's Day, and we didn't have to talk about love. So I consider that a complete success.
Oh, that's kind of weird. Anger for Valentine's Day. Oh well, anyways.
I think everyone is like, I'm probably going to wind up talking about love and romance in this iteration. No, we talked about anger.
Which some people admittedly feel on Valentine's Day, but hopefully not.
That's up to them.
Hopefully not that many. Yeah,
it's cheap chocolate Eve, man. Don't feel angry.
Yeah,
just go root through your couch for more change to buy more chocolate with. Come on. And if you're single, that means you don't have to split the chocolate with anyone. It's all you. It's the chocolate you want. You like milk chocolate. You don't like dark chocolate. You don't have to buy dark chocolate because it's just you have to worry about. Oh yeah.
Very good. Well, that's final. I don't know if we have final thoughts on it.
I think we've worked it out fairly nicely on this thing. We've ironed it down good.
That's been a podcast. I've been Josh Trelevin.
I've been Ryan Kirkby.
Simon.